فيها صلوات. حديث روي عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة، فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا، فقلت له أريدك بالله يا عبثة من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به، فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يطلع له كأنه البدر في الليلة لتمامه وكماله، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جسد رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده. يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله. أتأذن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع الأمة، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا عبده يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وعوما بيده اليمناء للسماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن صالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم، إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وتطهر عنهم الرجس وتطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
قال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مدعية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى، يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمس مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يصري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم رجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من القدر عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالته نجيا ما ظهر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا المحبين إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى عينة الرسول. فقال عليه السلام: إلى الله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل العرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغروب إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: يوم الله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على
محمد وآل محمد.
MashaAllah, excellent. Thank you for your research.
How in Karbala, our holy Imam Hussein al-Islam would not have been able to fulfill his mission. That is why she is known as Sakira Hussein, which means partner to Hussein. Women can play an important role in raising and supporting the purpose of our Kareem. And is a big one. Allah ਵਿੱਚ ਲਸ਼ਕਰ ਮਹਿਦੀ ਸਿਮਲਾ ਦੇ Allah ਵਿੱਚ ਲਸ਼ਕਰ ਮਹਿਦੀ ਸਿਮਲਾ ਦੇ ਐਸਾ ਗਾਹੋ ਆਹਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਹਲਮ ਕੀ ਸਦਾ ਦੇ लेके दे बेबी तकदिया में मौला की गुलामी असल में हजाए जाजे जवाबी आका वाहिश दुनिया को मेरा दिल से मिटा दे अल्लाह मुझे लश्कर मेहदी सिमला दे शबीर की आंसा में शामिल हो मेरा जो हर का हो मैं शामिल वही हो मेरा शबीर बना दे अल्लाह मुझे लश्कर मेहदी सिमला दे
Another last salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. MashaAllah, Muhammad Abbas, that was another amazing speech. I'm sure many of us are impressed. And yeah, well done, keep it up. And next I would like to invite on Brother Shahsawa Hussein to recite my prayer after another last salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Sabrida sar sachini मैं सदा देती तू ना या गाजी तबका सर सचनी मैं सदा देती तू ना या गाजी आले इमरान कहा और जिंदान कहा ये बहन कहते हुई तू ना या तबका सर सचनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना या गाजी हमको पानी ना मिले तेरी खुशबू तू है तेरी बाजू ना कटे चाहे मशकी साची दे ये मगर हो ना सका तेरी बाजू है जुदा मुझ पे है तशना लबी तू ना या गाजी तबका सर सचनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना या गाजी तू मैं टूटा शजर तुझसे आबाद तगर है बरहना मेरा सर क्या नहीं तुझे हो खबर ए अलमदार वफा इस बहन को बाखुदा तुझसे दार से बरी तू ना या गाजी तबरदा सर सचनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना या गाजी
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And another last salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And another last salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. One day you will leave your homeland and be killed on foreign land. One day you will lose those you love, watch them die on foreign sand. One day you will carry your sons and your brothers' dead bodies. One day you will cry out for help and be left with nobody. I will always be waiting at your side. I will be waiting for you in heaven. I will show my father your oppression. I will be waiting for you in heaven. I will show my father your oppression. In the court of Allah I'll show. In the court of Allah I'll show. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. My son, I feel sadness when you come to me and you're thirsty. Father told me you would die with no water and be lonely. My son, I feel sadness when you come to me and you're thirsty. Father told me you would die with no water and be lonely. On the plains of Karbala you'll be met with no mercy. The enemy will kill you and not care who's your family. My father will toss and turn in his grave as he watches his ummah kill in vain. My father will toss and turn in his grave as he watches his ummah kill in vain. The master of heaven is slain. The master of heaven is slain. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. My son, you will watch as they will kill your nephew in battle. Qasim will be killed when he is distracted by his saddle. My son, you will watch as they will kill your baby with arrows. Asghar's neck will be the target of Harmala's 3 arrows. Oh, na Muhammad will not be mourned by. Oh, na Muhammad will not be mourned by your sister as she cries others goodbye. Oh, na Muhammad will not be mourned by your sister as she cries others goodbye. Zainab will cry, Akbar goodbye. Zainab will cry, Akbar goodbye. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. My son, you will break your back when you lose Abbas, your backbone. Abbas will lose his left and right, and you will be left alone. My son, you will lose your back when you see Abbas with no arms. You will see him near the river, his eye hit by an arrow. Sakina will be slapped just like I was. Sakina will be slapped just like I was. Pain and suffering to her they will cause. Sakina will be slapped just like I was. Pain and suffering to her they will cause. Abbas, Abbas, she will cry out. Abbas, 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 I will always be with you at your side. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. I will always be with you at your side. I'll be with you during your final stride. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. Farewell, my son. Goodbye, my son. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I would like to now invite on Sayyid Abbas from Shuri to deliver another amazing lecture after.
Give me such a salawat.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Today's Majalis is dedicated to all of those children and young people who died while either defending their Imam or defending one of the harams which we go for ziyarah, or in Pakistan or Afghanistan or Iraq or any of those countries just because they were Shia. So for all of those children, Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ منهة القائل ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يعد حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدرك على الهمم ولا يناله غوص الختم، الذي ليس به صفة الحد المحدود ولا نعت الموجود ولا وقت معدود ولا أجل ممدود. أما بعد، صلى الله على سيدنا مولانا حبيب الله العالمين أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين. أما بعد، قال الله الحكيم بمحكم كتابه الكريم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Assalamu alaikum. When I say salam, I want everyone to answer. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Alright, hope you guys are all well, inshallah. As we continue our majalises as part of this series, you might be thinking that we've been discussing reform, which we have over the last few days. And we focused only and only on reform of you, of the individual, right? Your life, your heart, your soul, your mind, your body. But the reason why we are interested so much in this is because it's important for all of us as people, as boys, as girls, as young men, as young women, it's important that we all feel that we are valuable. and that we are important. And every single person feels that I matter in this world, and my feelings matter, my emotions matter, and my journey matters. And I hope that all of you feel that way. But the point of Islam and this world is not just about yourself and me, and I. That is not the point of this religion. This religion is about us, we, collective, a whole community together. But we can't be a good member of the community unless we are happy in our own selves. So that's why we discussed all of those things. From today onwards, we start to expand outwards, where it's not just about reforming me, right, and myself. Now, it's about how do I reform my family, my community, my friends, my teachers. How do I reform my whole city in which I live? How do I reform the whole world? And there are ways of doing this. And there are ways Imam Hussein al-Islam helps us to be a force for change in the whole world. And I'm hoping we can get there through each day by day and closer to the idea that you make a difference in the whole world. Alright. Before we get there though, it's occurred to me that there are in this room something like nearly double the people who were here in the first time we did this Majlis, which is amazing. But who's here the first one by their hands up, just so I know who the real G's here? Who are they? Okay. Alright, good. You were not here, put your hand down. Alright, hands down everyone. In the first lecture, I wanted to know who's actually here so I can get to know you. And now it occurs to me, everyone is changing, there's so many more people. So let's do this one more time, inshallah. I'm going to ask you to put your hand up if what I'm saying describes you. Okay? And then I know who's in this room. I am aged 18 or over. Hand up if that's you. 18 or over. Well, put your hands up. Alright, cool. 18 over? Alright. I am aged under the age of 9. Put your hand up if you're under 9. If you're 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I am aged either 14 or 15. Hands up so I know who's in there in that age group. 14, 15. Okay. I had a birthday in the last 2 months. Hand up if that was you. My age is an even number. Okay. Okay, listen guys. I walk to school when I go to school every day. I get the bus when I go to school. I drive when I go to school, anyone? I have a brother. I have at least one or more sisters. I find my sister annoying. I think that my brother is cool. I'm not cool. I think that the guy giving the Majalis is cool.
Yes.
Who's hands up? Who's hands up? And finally, the last one that I'll ask all of you is, no, that's too cliche, bro. No, the last one I'm going to ask is that I want to be a better human being in my life. Who thinks that? Who wants to be Okay, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Alright, hands down everyone. Okay, as we can see, alhamdulillah, we have in this room a variety of people of different ages and backgrounds. Some will like their siblings, some will find them annoying. Alright, cool. People who go to school differently, but one thing has gathered us all here in this majlis, right? Guys, when I'm talking, I need you to guys be quiet, please. one thing has brought us to this Majlis, and that thing is that we are here for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And the last point that I mentioned, somehow we have to improve our life. Okay, we've been looking at reform, yeah? And the idea of reform is wherever you are right now, in some things we can be better. Jeez.
Sorry, I have to stop again. There's again someone parked next door. There's a second complaint in these few days. So I hope no one parked next door.
Okay, so we have to reform ourselves. Today, we're looking at reform of the family. What that means is that our family that we live in at home should be a certain type of experience that I have at home. And maybe when I have things like I'm not happy in my house, I'm not happy at home, I have disputes. Excuse me. When I'm speaking, I need you to not talk to someone else, okay? At home, when we're in our house, sometimes we have arguments with our family members or our friends or our brothers and sisters. And it's not nice to be at home. Islam wants you to be at peace with your family, with your parents, and with your children or your siblings. I'm going to go through today how we can reform and deal with disputes and disagreements when I'm not enjoying being in my family home, and how to get on well with your brothers, sisters, mother and father. Let me ask you guys a question. Before I ask you to think about it and then answer, okay? Think about this for a second. How do you think a parent should treat their child? Think about it for a moment. How should a parent treat their child? Give yourself about 20-30 seconds and then I'm going to ask you.
By not stopping them with
Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands down quickly. Hands down. How should, in your opinion, and then I'm going to come to the Ahlul Bayt, how do you think a parent should be treating their children? Hands up. Well, why don't you go first?
like they don't slap you.
Okay, that's a very serious point. The parent, in your opinion, should not be harmful to the child. Yeah, like this. Not to slap you. Okay. Brother, go ahead. Pardon me?
Be kind.
Be kind. A parent should be kind to their child. Very good. Sister, go ahead.
To treat your children equally, boys and girls.
Treat them both children equally. Interesting. Sister, why don't you go ahead, Fazla? I can't hear you. Should be kind. That's a very good point, mashallah. Sister, go ahead, yeah?
Teach them about religion and culture and give them enough food and shelter.
Religion and culture and food and shelter, so the basic needs that you need. Very good. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Love. Amazing. Treat your child with love. Okay, go ahead.
So if they're bad, tell them to stop and they don't take away their stuff that they learn for like and then if they're good, be kind to them.
Okay, very good. Be kind to them. Don't take their things away. I'll do two more. Okay, sister, you go ahead.
Give them all their rights.
Give them all their rights. Okay, you know what? Because that is exactly what I want to come to, we're going to end on this point. Well done, sister. In Islam, we all have a fourth Imam. Imam, what's his name? Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Sajjad, who has a book of rights. And in that book, we have all the rights you need. What's the right of God? The right of the hands, the right of the neighbors, right of the teacher, and the right of the mother, and the right of the father, and the right of the child. So I'm going to go through what are the rights of each of them, and you can think to yourselves, that's how I should be. The first one we look at is the right of the mother. So this is how a child should treat their mother according to our Imam. The Imam says, as for your mother, know that she is the one who carried you when no one else carried you. Okay, the fact that she gave birth to you. No one else on this world has done that action of actually bringing you into this world. Then she keeps going. She gave you the fruit of your heart, which she gave to no one else. So the life a mother gives to a child, even if she's got many children, there's something unique about every experience that a mother gives to a child.
She gave you the fruit of her heart, which she didn't to anyone. She protected you with her own organs. She didn't care if she was hungry as long as you ate. She didn't care if she was thirsty as long as you drank. She did not care of the conditions of her clothes as long as your clothes were there. And if she was in the sun, she would be enduring it as long as you are in the shade. If she was in the heat, she would allow it so long as you are in calmness, all so that you might belong to her. And the Imam ends by saying, even if you try and show her gratitude, you won't be able to unless you have all of God's success in this one task. This is what the right of the mother. What do you guys think of that? Anyone got any opinion of what you think hearing that? The right of the mother? Go ahead, Zaki. Go ahead. What have you got to say? Amazing point. In Islam, although we're all born to mother and father, we may live in different conditions. One person might live with both parents. One person lives with only one parent. One person might not live with any parents. One person might have step parents. One person might have foster parents. Allah orders us to show the same kindness to all of them. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who they are, yeah? We show them the same respect and kindness. Some people live with guardians. Allah asks you to love them as well because they take care of you. Some people live with their extended family and their grandparents, not even with their own parents, because life can do that to you. That's fine. Allah is looking out for you and He makes sure you have whatever care that you need in your life. I know some people who don't have their parents because they died when they were very young and they live with other people. I know some people who live in a group home where they don't have just their parents, they have their whole family living with them. We all go through different things in life. But the one thing which is consistent, the one who raises you, you give them a certain level of respect that goes back to you, okay? About that point, you know, our Holy Prophet, his mother dies when he's like 7 years old. And all his life, he treats these things to his stepmothers and to the woman who took care of him and his family, yeah? So we carry on the same right to all of them. Thank you so much. Any other comments about this statement I've just read of the rights of the mother? Any questions or, like, what do you think hearing that from Imam Sajjad alayhi salam about the right of the mother? Yeah, brother? You should be very caring to your mother, right? Very good. This last point, I want to ask you, what do you think it means that even if you were to try and thank her for what she's done, you'd fail? He's even saying that you would fail, and you need God's help to even try this task. Why do you think it's impossible to thank a mother for what she's done for you? Yeah.
It's because your mother has given life to you, and she took care of you even when you were like a baby. So even though you probably were like may have been rude to her, she still was taking care of you and being nice.
Exactly. Amazing answer. No matter what things you might not like from her, this one thing is something you can never repay her for. What are you going to do to give her mum back the fact that she gave birth to you? Yeah.
Because her love is unconditional. Unconditional.
Yeah, that's a really good word to describe it. It's unconditional love, right, of a mother. But like we mentioned, that's a very good point. Like we mentioned, even if you go through life and you lose your mother, the Prophet treated all of his stepmothers in the same way. He lost his father as well, and he treated Abu Talib like this. So this is a general conduct for those who do the function of mother to you. Yes, sister?
Because your mother has done so much things for you, like you could never have, like, repaid all of them.
You can never repay them. You can sit and try, but you will not finish repaying them, right? Amazing. Any other points before I move on? Any questions? Okay. Imam Sajjad then says, okay, that's your mother. What about the father? What are the rights of the father everyone should have? And then he says, the rights of your father is that you should know that he is your roots. Imagine you're a tree, you have a root under it. Your father is your root. Without him, you would not be. Whenever you see anything in yourself which pleases you, which you're happy with, know that your father is the root of those blessings. So praise God and thank Him in measure, for there is no help except God in this blessing. So this one's a little bit different. It's not about you love them unconditionally. It's if there's a good thing in you, Allah gave that good thing to you through your father. Now again, some of us might lose our fathers, some of us might not get on with them, but this is still the case, that Allah chose for you to be born to this person, and we have certain rights going back towards him. Imagine this one thing, right? The Prophet, he, in like the beginning of his life, he loses his dad. So he grows up his whole life without a father. And the one who raises him is his uncle Abu Talib. This is how he treats Abu Talib. Even though it's not even his dad. that all of the good things that he has, he's the one who raised me like this. This is how you treat a father. He's your roots. You know how a tree gets all of its goodness from the roots under it, gets its firmness and stability? That's how you treat your dad. Okay. Any questions or comments? What do you guys think about hearing this statement about the right of the father from the Imam? Anyone got any ideas about it or what you think? No? It's always good just to, when you hear anyone mention something, the Imam, to think, I wonder how do I feel about that? Do I agree? It's okay if you disagree. Like, how do I actually feel about that? Is that your hand up? No? Okay. Anyone got any comments? Alright, cool. Then the Imam says, this is how the right should be of the child. So you just don't know how I got to treat mom and dad. But how should they treat me? Now he answers and he says, the right of the child from the parent is that the parent should know that your child is from you and they'll be ascribed to you. Both their good and their bad deeds and all the affairs in this world will be ascribed back to you in the hereafter. So, O the parent, you are responsible for what you give your child. If you give them education, you're responsible for it. If you give them husn adab, like you show them good behavior, you're responsible for it. If you point them in the direction of your Lord and help him obey your Lord, you are responsible. And so all parents should act towards their children in the way that they know that they're going to be rewarded for the good deeds of the child, and the parents going to be punished for the bad deeds of the child. And that's how mom and dad should be treating us and any of our guardians or those who raise us. They should know that whatever good and bad thing that we do, somehow God says it goes back to that parent. So if you do any good deeds and you're so proud of yourself that, listen man, I did that namaz, I was telling the truth. Okay, you did a good deed. But you know who else gets thawab for all those good deeds? Yes, your mom and dad or your parents or the ones who raised you. And those bad deeds that you do, on the day of judgment, you're not the only ones who's going to be ashamed at those deeds. The parents will be ashamed for the deeds their children did. So what must the parent do? Husn adab. Husn adab, do you know what it means? It means when you are a good example. So for example, if your parents tell you something which is good, but they don't even do that thing themselves, that's not husn adab. Husn adab is they show you how you should be, and you grow up copying and following them. Because so often children become like their parents. So, we've just gone through 3 rights. A child like a mother. She is the one who raised you and no one else would. And don't ever forget that deed that she has done. You won't be able to thank her. Child back to dad or the father who raised you. He's your root of your good deeds. And parent to children. We give you husn adab and we will be ascribed for your good deeds. Right now I'd like to ask all of you a question about these, okay? Many of us, some of us live with our parents, some live with one parent, some live with our grandparents, guardian. It's okay, we live in different backgrounds. But wherever we live, there's rules in the house in which we live, right? We all have rules we got to follow. Sleep at this time, you can't go on your phone, this, that and the other. Let me ask all of you a question. If you could change one rule in your house that affects you, and you're in charge for, let's say, from now on, what's one rule you would change in your house that's to do with you? Think about it for a second and I'm going to ask you. Ten more seconds. One rule you would change. Imposed on, not yet, hands down. That's imposed on you from, the people that you live with, whoever it is, and you have to follow it. One thing you would change. What would that rule be you change? Hands up everyone. You think, because you're sitting out there, I'm going to pick you first. You thought right. What do you think?
I think that we will, when I'm a kid, I'll get a phone.
Pardon me, say again?
When I'm a kid, I'll get a phone.
Oh, so your rule would be you're allowed to have a phone when you're a kid. Okay, nice rule. Anyone over here? Brother, go ahead. Yeah, you're listening please to each other. No homework.
I say that to you.
Alright, listen here, please. Brother, what do you think? No more? No more chores. Alright, cool. Sisters, what do you think?
I need freedom.
You need freedom.
I need freedom.
Represent. Alright. Sister over there, yeah? Sitting there for a while while thinking. Is that a rule that, oh, you have, in certain time you have to do nothing except think, right? MashaAllah, that's nice rule. Brother, go ahead.
So you can draw on the screen anytime you want to.
And pay money as well, yeah? Okay, so the rule that so do you like the rule or you don't want the rule anymore? You like the rule. You can play Fortnite whenever you want, but you still have to pray, right? That's like a half rule that you want, because you still got to pray, but you get Fortnite all day. Alright, cool. Brother, go ahead. You don't like this rule? Or you want this rule? So what's the rule right now? If you don't study, you get in trouble, right? And you want the rule where even if you don't study, you don't get in trouble. Okay, alright. Anarchist, bro. Okay, good. Brother, go ahead.
I want to know, like, when the parents need help, like the parents like go to speak with you, most of the parents be on their phone, like, okay.
No, they should be strict to you. Parents should be strict to you while on their phone. It's very like specific issue, isn't it? Okay, sisters, who's not spoken? Sister, you go ahead. Yeah. I can come back to you if you like. Brother, who was saying? Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm allowed to buy my food,
You would stock up your bedroom with Doritos. What flavor? I need to know if I like this or not. That's the only right answer. The card has a blessing to the card. What's your point? What do you think? What rule would you change? I can't wait for this.
you get to play what any game you want, and you get to get any console.
Any game, any console, whenever you want it. You're asking for a lot. Okay. Last point. Who's not spoken? Alright, Jawad, last one, Jawad. 1 second, guys, this is the last one. I'll come. Oh my God, no.
Xbox, the dude says
Playing Xbox 24/7. Okay. Next question. Listen, please. Guys. Excuse me. Can you please listen? Excuse me. Listen, please. Okay. So when I asked all of you if there was like one rule which you would not want to follow, what did we get? We got things like, I don't want to do my homework, I don't want to get restrictions on my phone, I don't want to go to school, I want Doritos all the time, I don't know. The idea is there's things that your parents or family are telling you in your life which you think is too strict for me, and I want freedom, right? I want to be free from those things. Alright, interesting approach. How about this question to you? Is there one rule that's imposed in your house or your family which you would never change? That, to be fair, you know this one thing, I might change Doritos, yeah, but not this one thing. What do you think is the most important rule that's happening in your home that you would not change? Take another 15 seconds off your screen.
You look like
So the question was, no, hands down, not yet. The question was, bearing in mind that some rules we don't like in our homes, if there was one rule which we do like, or which we would not change, what is that rule? What do we think? She's already going. So you still going to school, you wouldn't change that rule, yeah? Okay, I will not stop this. Brother, go ahead. What rule would you not change that you have to follow now? Go ahead.
Namaz.
Namaz, you have to read namaz. You've not changed that. Very good answer. Sister, go ahead.
Sleep at a certain time.
So right now there's a certain set time you've got to sleep and you wouldn't change that rule, right? What is the time by the way? What's the time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock at night, right? And what time do you have to wake up? Anytime you want, right? Alright, 9 p.m. Okay, good. Brother here, yeah, go ahead. One second. Guys, excuse me guys, the whole idea of asking you is so you get to share, but if everyone's talking, how can you feel like you're being listened to? So when someone's speaking, let's all listen to them and give them respect. Go ahead, brother.
I think I do that.
So right now you'll get pocket money and you've not changed that. It's very economical minded, that's smart. Okay, good. Brother, go ahead.
Get to do whatever you want in the house.
So right now you can do whatever you want. So that's actually the absence of rules. That's not a rule.
Oh, so my brothers don't get to because they have to study back.
Ah, now the truth is coming out. Okay, so you get younger sibling privilege and you don't want to lose that.
I don't want
Okay. Brother, go ahead.
not take care of my younger sisters when my parents are home.
So you'd keep that rule, right? But you've got to take care of them. So what rule do you want to keep? Okay. With that?
To read Quran.
To read Quran. You have a rule in your house you have to read Quran. You keep that rule, right? Amazing, very good. Go ahead.
To
Do Majlis every day, like coming to Majlis. That's a shout out to 14, by the way. Very good. Go ahead, brother. Sleeping. What about sleeping? Right now, is there a rule on sleeping in your house? So you keep it the same, right? Ah, good, very good. Interesting answer. Who's not spoken? You spoke, you spoke. One of you guys now. What's one rule that you keep? Go ahead. One rule in your house. That's one now that you will not change. That you keep that rule. Come on. Not being allowed to go out with friends, you keep that rule. Okay, good answer, brother. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Listening guys, please, listening everyone. This activity of what rules, can I please ask that you guys are listening at the back, please? Thank you. This activity we've just done about what rules do you agree with, what rules do you not agree with, is because you know when you're at home and you have a disagreement with your family, it's almost always because of this, that there's some rule that you've got to follow and you don't like that. There's something you've been told to do and you disagree. And somewhere in arguments and sometimes shouting and anger and shutting your door and all those things, this is what's actually going on. There's a rule in my house that I don't like how it feels to follow it. And now we've just been discussing some rules we actually agree with because they make sense or we like them and they're good for us. And some rules, I just don't see the value in those rules being imposed on me. That's normal. The question then is, what do we do when we have a disagreement with people in our own family? What do we do? How do we deal with this issue and not be so angry at home that I don't want to go in my house and I'm angry about my dad and I don't like my brother and sister and I just don't want to be here and I'm so frustrated and I don't even feel safe in my own house? What do we do? If anyone is going through this in your life, the Quran gives us 3 pieces of advice of what to do when you're in that situation. So I'm going to go through it and then we're going to end today's Majalis inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, everyone listening, please, it's very important that you guys get this. Everyone listening, everyone. Okay. The first advice the Quran gives to us of when your mum or dad or someone has said to do something and you don't like what's been told to you is the verse Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbarhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. The verse is what? Oh Allah, have mercy on my parents the way they had mercy on me when I was younger. Number 1, we should stop and remember all the good things that person did for us before we think of how to deal with the bad thing. Okay? They've told us something, I don't like this thing, but hold on a second. Who's the one who's saying it? It's a mum. Alright, well she is actually, to be fair, she got me all my clothes and she made sure my room was clean and well that's my job actually, but she took care of me when I was young, she got me to school, she drove me to my friends. I don't like what she's just done, but I've got to acknowledge what good things she's done before me, right? Same thing with a dad, or a stepdad, or a foster carer, or someone. I don't like what they've just done to me. But the Quran says, hold on a second. What did good things they do for you before? Hold on to the idea first. Okay? So the first thing is pause and ask yourself, what good things have they done for me before I react to the bad thing that I don't like how it feels? Alright. Step one, reflect. Step two, communicate. The Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ادعوا إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. The Quran says, when you speak to someone, invite them towards your Lord while speaking with wisdom, with good conduct, and if you argue in the best possible way. When you speak to someone, ask yourself, am I speaking with wisdom to that person? Wisdom means be rational, be smart, look at who's speaking, and speak to them the way that they're going to understand what you're saying. Then the Quran says, not just speaking with wisdom, sometimes you're going to argue. The Quran says you're going to argue. It's literally in the Quran. But if you do argue, it'll be ahsan, argue in the best possible way, which means listening, hearing their point of view, understanding where they're coming from, and answering them with your point of view in a respectful way. So sometimes you're not going to like what's happening in your house, but you've got to learn to communicate. Quran says, speak in the best possible way, with wisdom. Look who's in front of you and how to communicate to them. Okay, let's say you've done step one. You've reflected on all the good deeds they've done for you. You've done step two. You're communicating and trying to speak to them. But still, they're not understanding where you're coming from, and you're not getting where they're coming from. The Quran then says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَالْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْحِسَابِ. Oh God, forgive me and forgive my parents. The third step is forgiveness. Sometimes, look, parents, big brothers, big sisters, grandparents, aunties, uncles, they're human beings, they're going to make mistakes. It's literally part of being an insan. They're not infallible. But I get to choose, am I going to resent them or hate them or get angry at them for their mistakes, or am I going to forgive them? Same thing with me, I'm going to make mistakes. Do I expect someone to judge me my whole life for my mistakes? Or I'm like, listen, I made a mistake, but please can you forgive me and can we move on with this? The third step is this, where we're saying, oh God, forgive my parents for everything they did wrong, and all the believers. So step three is this, we have to learn in our hearts to accept and forgive the wrongdoing done to us by those who are nearest to us. Because just because they're in authority over us doesn't mean they're not going to make mistakes. But I get to choose how I deal with those mistakes, and I can do it with love and kindness and forgiveness. Okay, what's step one when you have a disagreement with your family? What's step one, the first thing you should do? Hands up, what is it? Yes, sister? Reflect on all the good things they did for you before they did this thing that was bad. Okay, you've reflected, well done, but you're still upset with what they've done to you. What's step two? Sister? Communicate with wisdom, with good conduct, and with the best kind of argument that you can do. Amazing, thank you sister. And what's step three? What's the third thing you do if you've reflected, you've communicated, and you're still not getting anywhere with them? What do? Yes, brother? Forgiveness. You learn to forgive them, and you ask them to forgive you as well, yeah? Inshallah, anytime we go through difficulty in our family, we can reform in this way. We speak in the right way, we behave in the right way, and we understand each other, and that's when we can feel safe in our own homes, inshallah. Well done everyone, some amazing points. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay. And children are also very important. But on Ashura, it's the first time you're going to see where there are children our age asking adults, please let me go and fight on the battlefield and kill and defeat the enemy to defend you, Ya Hussein, from all those who want to hurt you. Children of young age. And the two children who we remember in today's Majalis are aged 13 and 11. Hazrat On is about 13 years old. And his brother Muhammad is about 11 years old. 13 and 11-year-old boys are sitting with their mother, Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. And she says to them, tomorrow, when the battle comes, there's going to be a fight. And I need you both to be like me on the battlefield. Represent me. So the day of Ashura comes. All of Imam Hussein's family, all his friends, fight for him first. When every single one of his friends has gone and fought and has laid down their life, there's only family left, and young family. And of all of the family members who go and fight for Imam Hussein, the books say, the first one to go and fight and try and defend him is Ali Akbar, his son. When Imam al-Hussein brings back the body of his young son Ali Akbar and lays it beneath his feet and looks at his child, that's when Bibi Zainab comes and says, On, Muhammad, how are you still here when Ali Akbar has already left and laid down his life? Why are you still alive? You have to defend our Imam. So On would say, oh, our mother Zainab, every time we go to Imam Hussein, he does not allow us to fight. He keeps saying to us, you're not allowed to go and fight. I can't give you permission. So Bibi Zainab goes to Imam Hussein and says, oh my brother, why are you going to embarrass me on the day of judgment that you've given your child for this religion and my children are still alive? How is that fair? So Imam says, fine, I'll give you permission. So this 13-year-old boy and his 11-year-old brother are taken by Imam al-Hussein and Hazrat Abbas to the battlefield, and both of them take these children and put them on their horses. Hazrat Abbas lifts the 11-year-old, Imam al-Hussein lifts a 13-year-old, and they say, farewell, old children, go away from us into the battlefield. Hazrat Abbas taught both of those boys how to hold a sword and a shield, and now he's watching them going and fighting. These two boys go into the battlefield, children, and around them there are enemies, wolves like men, with weapons and shields. And they say to them, who are you boys that you come to us and fight us with such bravery? And they say, we are the sons of Ali and of Ja'far al-Tayyar. We are the sons of the heroes of Islam. And yes, we are children, but in our blood, there is the same blood of Imam Ali alayhi salam on the battlefield. So all swords, come and strike us. They both start fighting. And they fight so bravely. These children are defeating all of the enemy. Do you know how they're fighting? Back to back. So when one's fighting in one side, the other one is right behind him. And they're fighting either side. So they're protecting each other like true brothers. Then they say, the enemy can't destroy them. On, the older brother breaks through the rank and goes far into the battlefield. And Muhammad, the 11-year-old, can't get through. So now the brothers are split. When they're split, the enemy say, now that they are not together, even though they are children, if you have a sword, hit your sword against these children. If you have an arrow, strike your arrow against these children. If you have rocks, throw rocks against these children. And one by one, On falls to the ground, Muhammad falls to the ground. On is far away into the battlefield, Muhammad is near the camp. Both of them fall. And do you know what they both say? Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, ya Ammul Hussein. Take my final salam, oh my uncle Hussein. Both of them call for the Imam alayhi salam. So Imam Hussein now, in his horse, goes into the battlefield, but he can't go to both of the bodies at once. So he says, Abbas, you go to Muhammad, I'll break through the ranks and go to On. These two on their horses rush into the battlefield. What do they see? When Abbas comes, he sees On, an 11-year-old body is lying on the plains of Karbala, covered in wounds. What does Hussein see? Imam Hussein sees that all on this body there are still people attacking On while he's still alive on the ground. He pushes them all off his body, takes his young nephew on his shoulders and rides back into the camp of his family. Imam Hussein comes, Abu Abbas comes, and they lay down both of these bodies down, On and Muhammad, brave children who would not let go of their Imam under any circumstances. Finally, the mother Zainab comes now. Now, for a mother to see her two children would be heartbreaking. It would be the most hard thing for a mother to see. Zainab looks down and sees what? Awlad Muhammad, her 2 children she has raised, lying there. And then she sees Imam al-Hussein crying, and she says to herself and to Allah, Ya Allah, please accept the sacrifice of my 2 sons on the day of judgment. Accept them on that day. This is what a mother is for the sake of her Imam. I'll give my children, but Imam al-Hussein is the most important one. And every child knew I would give up my life so that my Imam is safe. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Let's all raise our hands together in dua right now and say, as Ya Allah, for the sake of On and Muhammad, how those children were brave, make us brave. Ilahi ameen. And Ya Allah, the way that Sayyidina Zainab alayhi salam is the mother to those children, allow us all to be in loving and kindness and care with our mothers and those who raise us, inshallah. And finally, Ya Allah, we were not alive on Karbala to fight for our Imam then, but give us a chance today to defend our Imam, inshallah. Ilahi ameen. اللهم إني أسألك بحق فاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستعود فيها أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد مات الحسين.
Ya Hussein,
Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala. Rain was blood for you because the water was ashamed to descend when you're dying thirsty, Ya Hussein. When you stood alone saying, am I not the Holy Prophet's grandson? Now the 1,000 men that you quenched with your holy hand did you abandon? But the Shia will mourn you till today, for you our eyes are Zamzam. I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala voices, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained there to Karbala, time erodes the rocks, but your love will never change. Hussein, time erodes the rocks, but your love will never change. Stronger than the rocks are the hearts that love Hussein. Oh Abbas, this is me, Sakina, so please return if you can hear me. I will never ask you for water, just one look from you will relieve me. You promised me that you'll look after me, so Abbas, how could you leave me? I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, I will come again here for Hussein here. Coming chained here to Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Allah
Maşallah, maşallah.
اللهم صل على محمد